and clean and make sure everything is the way it ought to be. My name is Julius Caesar Anadem. Welcome to another beautiful day. It is Tuesday and it's the day the debt exchange program. In terms of the deadline, we understand that extension that was given is today. We'll get talking about all of that and more, but you can send us your thoughts via WhatsApp line 0246 72 18 18, 0246 72 18 18, and 0509 181 770, 0509 181 770. Good morning and greetings to wherever you are tuning, listening to us. Indeed, things ought to change. Things must change. If you listen to this particular signature tune we come on air with, there's so much in there for you to appreciate and talk about. Well, if you want to get the pictures of what we're doing in here, you need to go to our YouTube page, Ultimate 106.9 FM, Ultimate 106.9 FM, and you would find us there. We are airborne, we're live, and you get the opportunity to see what's happening here in our studios as well. My colleague Ivan Hitko Fumado, the rains yesterday, he catch your place.
Yes, I caught. It was the mosquitoes are taking over everywhere. So me, it was a massive distraction for mosquitoes in this city, and I was excited about that bit.
Okay.
Because when it rains like that, a lot of the mosquitoes die off, and a lot of their eggs are washed away to some of the areas that the waters recede and run into.
Okay.
It's good because with our rising temperatures, it is becoming more conducive for mosquitoes to breed. And when it gets to the point where the waters have become stagnant and they are not moving, then it becomes another problem too. So the mosquitoes were more, and then the dust everywhere looked too dusty.
Okay.
And it had threatened to rain a couple of times and there was no show. So
yeah.
we were really waiting for
Saturday.
Yeah.
The winds were up high, and at a point in time we thought it was going to rain, but
yes,
that didn't happen.
And when it happens like this too, we are looking forward to the disaster management organization doing some good wrecking and then keeping their eyes on the ground. We know the areas that flood. I hear yesterday, even just the short rains that came, there are some areas that were badly hit within about 6 districts.
It will.
6 districts of the Ashanti region.
It will,
and we are still picking information. You see,
our development attitude, we've concretized virtually
everywhere. Caesar,
drains that
concrete jungle is what we are creating.
Drains that are supposed to be empty so that water can run easily. That's not happening.
Yes, and the ground that is supposed to soak the water too, we've also put concrete on it.
Yeah.
And you see, when you start coming from areas like, look at the huge area on the side of you when you are coming from the airport roundabout. Sometimes the kind of heat and temperatures that goes on over there when the sun shines,
yeah.
And it's apparently because it's difficult to find a tree in that area. The whole the very communal Abu settlement where there are lots of compound houses meandering into each other and all of that. It's difficult to find trees there. If you come all the way towards Oforikrom, enter Oforikrom proper, few patches of trees. There are some areas you will see long streaks of compound houses and story buildings, and there are no trees. I think in my area, the trees that are there are the trees that my grandfather planted, the coconut trees. There are about 4 or 5 coconut trees. At first, they had them all in front of my house all the way to the market area, but they pulled them down because of the road that they wanted to construct. And the other side are the ones left, and there's another blooming tree over there. But you look around and you're not finding those buffers. So even if there are storms and the trees have to serve as windshields, we are not getting that cover. Apart from that, the trees and then their roots are supposed to hold the ground firm. We are not getting it. So all we have to do is now cement. And the people who also have a bit of luxury to have huge areas that they can, do some greenery to soak in the carbons that we have in our society to they don't do it now. There's more of the artificial grass. Sometimes when I see it, it looks nice, it looks fine and beautiful, but I feel I'm robbed of nature. I wish I could see that place where they spread that artificial grass or artificial carpet. They would have tilled it and then put in some grass, manured it, and made sure that it grew some fine natural hedges. It would demand that you trim it.
Well, it
will come with the work and all of that, but they will say, well, let's just put in the carpet and then move on. There's one hotel that I will not mention the name. From the entrance, they have tiled the floor to the extent that if it rains and you're using a light vehicle, if you slam on the accelerator, your tires will virtually spin on the tiles.
Oh, why would you mention the hotel?
And if you move in,
what's it? It's in.
If you move in just a little bit, all the sides are artificial carpet grasses.
Oh, is in Shasu here? What's
see that you won't remember?
There's a hotel. Is it Vineyard or something? True Vine.
Yes, that's the one I'm talking about.
No, but what would you mention? Because
you get in there.
You need to draw the attention to it because
you get in there and it rains. If you're using a light car, you step on the accelerator, your tire will spin. Sure. I remember I sat in a boat like that. It had rained for about 30 minutes. So the security man had to now tell him that try drive slowly, brah. Oh yes, just about Yungu.
Yeah, and
it will remain there.
It's not even about cars. When you even get down and you're even walking, if you don't take care, you could slip because the tile is quite smooth, and also where they put the artificial grass that you find there, when it rains, it soaks it, and it's also slippery.
It's also very slippery,
and it's rubber. Yeah, so it's slippery as well. So if you're not
step on it, you
can slip.
That kind of thing.
I think the management of True Vine needs to look at that again and think
the other thing
because the
too
safety
is that
of persons who come to your facility,
and even if you come in with a wheelchair, it's more dangerous.
Yeah, it's paramount. And you see, when you enter, it is also slopey.
Yes,
it's sloping, it slopes down. It's got some complexities that I think they should get some engineers in there, look at it again. If they need to change a few things, they should do that because the safety of your clients and persons who come to the facility is paramount. And talking about matters of safety and all of that, I think yesterday morning we all woke up to the news of Turkey and Syria. I don't know why people are focusing much more just on Turkey, but it's Turkey and Syria.
Yeah, Turkey and Syria.
And perhaps other surrounding cities or other countries that are quite close to that particular enclave because the death toll we understand is rising, and just this morning we understand it is 4,800 persons that are dead. There are also some complexities involved.
Extremely
Rains tragic. Are coming down and it's making the rescue effort quite
very difficult,
challenging, difficult for them. I've seen countries that have dispatched rescuers there. I think Germany, they've dispatched some team there. I think Australia, they also dispatching some team there.
There are a lot of white helmets are also on the ground. Yesterday they were talking about the fact that they needed more medical supplies. They needed some blankets. They needed some clean water. They need, there are several people, thousands hit. And we are all. I think I asked the sports guys whether Achu has been found. And then he says that
they are reporting
that
he's been found.
Yeah, he's been found. That was some tweets that have come in.
And when I say it's a Turkish media outlet, that is confirming that through a Turkish journalist. But I think while we all await, the club perhaps should be giving us some update on this particular subject matter, because I've been up throughout the night and you get a reaction from all kinds of people who are putting all kinds of information there. Yesterday in the evening, late evening, a report came through that he had been rescued and he was struggling in breathing and had a foot injury. It turned out not to be, because the club, understand, director also came out with a different communique that Achu and I think one of their leaders, their coach was not found, and they were still under the rubble. That was late into the night as well. And a journalist also put out the information that he's been found. had to also come and apologize that his source got us wrong. I had to pull down a tweet he had put on social media and all of that. But this morning as well, around 6:25, Christian Achu has been pulled from the wreckage alive. This is a Turkish journalist putting this information out there, and that is the communication he is putting out there today, 6:25. That's what he tweeted. The club is yet to confirm this particular tweet, but this is a journalist
who is
in Turkey that is giving out that information,
yes.
and lots of people are relying on that. The club's sporting director is reportedly still unaccounted for, but the winger has since been taken to a hospital per the club's manager Mustafa Otzat. That's what it is also coming out now. So as and when we get some more details, we'll let you know, because it's a fluid situation that is.
We are all praying. I think this morning we normally do some dawn prayers on Zoom for our church, and he was one of the people that we prayed for.
Okay.
So we are just hoping that the positive news comes in real quickly, and then it's quite positive as we are always looking at it. Yeah.
Well, but I've been thinking about the other side, the magnitude of distraction that has caused to Turkey, and I'm asking myself, wow, don't be surprised Turkey would bounce back in a year's time. And if I talk of bouncing back, they can't bring the people back, they are dead and all of that. So that is a huge situation. But in terms of infrastructure that I've seen, roads, buildings that have come down, that are destroyed, I can bet my last city, Peswa, on it, that some of these infrastructure they'll bounce back, stronger.
Even Ukraine is rebuilding. I'm telling you.
The beautiful Republic of Ghana.
That is what it is. God who has been spending
through a thing like this. I don't see where I don't see it, because you remember May 9 disaster, you remember June 3rd disaster. Today we still got challenges.
Even our central medical stores got burned down, and we haven't constructed one since then.
Charlie, this country called Ghana, and the kind of people we call leaders. Well,
now we are doing DDE, Caesar. Debt exchange. And the finance minister came out yesterday to come and give his final speech before the deadline, which is supposed to cut off today.
Okay.
And a couple of very interesting things that he mentions. Caesar, if you listen to him, he keeps saying a couple of things that I do not agree with.
Okay.
One of the things being that they held extensive good faith discussions with all stakeholders before some of these issues were pulled out. That is wrong. We were in this country where corporate trustees who had pensions that were owned by TUC and then the rest came to tell us that they were only informed and that there were no consultations that went on. We were in this same country where the individual bondholders had to form coalitions, 2 coalitions, and start pleading, and they threatened that they were going to demonstrate with their old men and old women before the finance minister came out to come and announce one night. I remember the very night before the next morning that they have agreed to speak with them. They spoke with them the next day, was a Tuesday, and then they decided to form a technical committee to now start sitting to discuss some of these things. So if he mentions that there have been extensive good faith discussions with the people, I do not understand. And one other leg that he says that all of this has been geared towards ensuring and safeguarding the livelihoods of the vulnerable in society. Please, that was an afterthought. It was a 0% that was going to be given them. So some of those things I do not agree. But some of the things that keeps very disturbing and shocking. Since I do know that our debt overhang in this country, Ghana Day, we have done close to half a trillion cedis in this country. our external debt component is 382 billion cedis. The local component, 193 billion, is domestic debt. If you look at the amount of revenues that we get in the country from all sources, Caesar, we are using more than 50% of it as debt servicing. We are servicing our debt. Our taxpayers, all the monies that we collect in this country. Okay, and we're not talking about servicing all the debt. We're talking about our annual obligations. We are using over 70% of all the taxes that we collect in this country. We don't spend it on ourselves. So the 70%, all the taxes that we pay in this country, 70% of it goes into debt servicing. See that public sector debts. Okay, if you take out the ones that are owed by the state-owned organizations, SOEs, we are looking at somewhere 70% and over, and some are even putting it at 93%. If you look at total debt of the country, when you add all the public sector debt to it, I don't know where we are heading. We have hit over 100% of the whole GDP that we make in this country. So it's a total crisis situation, and I'm sitting there looking at so if we have been able to borrow about 500 billion cedis, we are doing 500 billion. This country shouldn't have the kind of development that we are seeing. That is why somebody will ask you, Nasikano why matter. The individual bond holders, several of whom are pensioners, are now having some kind of respite per what was read by the finance minister that was yesterday. And I think that look, most of the bonds, okay, if you look on the average, just the average is around 18.5% for the individual bond holders. Some of them have theirs going as high as somewhere in the 30s. Right now, what is going to happen is that if you are an individual bond holder, no matter how long that you bought those bonds for, whether you bought those bonds for 15 years, 20 years, 15 years, 12 years, 10 years, whatever, now they are going to cap it at 5 years for you, and then they will give you, instead of 0, 10% if you are below 59 years. Those who are turning 60 next year, this year, and those who are pensioners who are above 60, now the respite they've given them is that instead of paying you 0 coupons, they are going to give you 15%, but they will bring your maturity rate to 5 years. And that is how far that the finance minister says that he has stretched himself, and there is nothing else that can be done to completely exempt them, unless you yourself decide not to tender in your bonds as part of the exchange. And I think that it has been it had been communicated to them quite early on, and that.
Well, before I bring you that particular reaction, listen to this.
If they lose their livelihood, who will they turn to? Of Jehovah God Almighty, touch the savings of the poor. Because when the poor people decide to cry, there will be judgment from heaven. Lord, push them away from the savings of the poor. Push them away from the savings of the needy. For there are families who depend upon these savings. I send you, holy angels. Go and arrest the heart of the president, his vice, and the finance ministers and their advisors. Make them sensitive to the needs of the people. Bring them on their knees. Let them hear the voice of righteousness. Amen. And the poor and the vulnerable. Keep us. Bring us help, oh God. Help our nation from collapsing. Help our nation from sinking. Jesus. Bring our finances back to life. Let the economy work again. Amen. Let families feed their children and their houses. Yes, Lord. Sustain breadwinners. Keep fathers and mothers.
And this was a special prayer said for these people, that it concerns them.
This invitation was within the context that for Ghana to reach the required debt sustainability threshold of debt to GDP of 55%, it was important to review the interest rates and maturities of the existing bonds. Having listened to and acknowledged emerging concerns, we have recalibrated the framework of the DDEP with the following constituting the terms of the improved and enhanced offer. 1. All individual bondholders who are below the age of 59 years, category A, are being offered instruments with a maximum maturity of 5 years instead of 15 years and a 10% coupon rate. 2. All retirees, including those retiring in 2023, category A, are being offered instruments with a maximum maturity of 5 years instead of 15 years and a 15% coupon rate. All retirees, including those retiring in 2023, category B, are being offered instruments with a maximum maturity of 5 years instead of 15 years and a 15% coupon rate. The objective of this is to ensure that individuals, especially retirees who put their hard-earned savings in our domestic market, are not left in hardship as a result of the DDEP and yet contribute to the resolution of our current crisis. We have been intentional in pushing the threshold of what is possible in order to safeguard the well-being of our pensioners, preserve the savings of individuals, protect the working capital of businesses, and ensure the health and stability of our financial sector whilst restoring macroeconomic stability.
So that's the finance minister.
Ken Oforiatta over there. Caesar, you see?
Did he quote the Bible?
Yes. I'll give another sound bite when he quotes a Bible verse from the book of Proverbs. And Caesar, you see, imagine that I saw that you were selling banku and tilapia at Caesar restaurant.
Yeah.
And I came to Caesar restaurant and Caesar said that I sell banku and tilapia. I said, oh, I want to eat some because I know that is the food that is going to make me healthy and able to go and do my work. If I don't eat banku and tilapia, I will die. So I give you the money. That is, I take this money and give me banku and tilapia. I turn around and come back. I'm sitting at the waiting area, waiting for you to bring it. And you come and tell me that, please, because things are so tough, I'm unable to go and buy corn dough. I'm unable to go and buy cassava dough and other things to come and prepare your banku and tilapia for you. So instead of that, please let me give you water. I will give you water for some time so that you will survive till I am able to get things together and I will be able to buy the corn dough and other things. Then maybe I start preparing you kuku. Then after preparing kuku a little bit, then if I get more things, then I give you something a bit heavier like banku and pepper. Maybe later, then I go and get the money. Then I can give you your tilapia. And I said no. I gave you money for banku and tilapia because that is what I'm going to survive on. So if you come back and you tell me that, please, I have looked at your issue and I know that you can die if I don't give you the banku and tilapia. So now please, I'm settling on giving you Milo. Why should I be sitting there comparing the Milo to the water? I should compare the Milo to the banku and tilapia I originally asked for. See, if I'm a stockbroker or I am a broker on some of these bonds and some of these capital instruments, and you come to me, Caesar, for advice, there are a few things I'm going to ask you, and it's a standard practice in every signer in every advisor on some of these issues. Caesar, first I ask you your age, because your age is going to be a determinant of whether or not I should make you too much exposed to risk. I heard Dakrope when they called. Dakrope made a very interesting statement that he's a young person.
Yeah.
When he lost some money to some of these DKMs and other financial institutions, he knows that he can work and then maybe he can recoup something. But the old person who was crying that he's past 70 years, he's not going to work, he's not on a regular income from anywhere, he can't go and do some movement and get something to come and survive. So your age is very critical if I'm going to determine which instrument I should advise you to invest your money in. Number two, I'm going to look at whether or not you are somebody who is risk averse or you have a huge appetite for risk. So see that if I know that if your blood pressure misbehaves, immediately something happens, I am not going to advise you to go into risky bonds or risky instruments, or either on the capital market, on the money market, or anywhere. I will advise you go for safe things, bonds, sovereign bonds. I'll ask you go in for fixed notes. I'll ask you to go in for treasury bills, treasury notes, and those things, because that one is safer. Well, per what we know, not per what Ghana is telling us right now. And then I will also look at Caesar some of the issues to do with your aspirations, your objectives, how many years that you want to be making these monies from. Are these for recurrent expenditure? Are these for contingency expenditure? Are these for emergency expenditure? Then I can properly tell you which bonds you should choose. So Caesar, these are the considerations that the persons who bought these bonds went into. And these are the considerations that made them choose bonds between 12 years, 15 years, and I can tell you that a third of all the people who are holding the bonds have their bonds beyond 12 years. They did it for a reason, so that they can spread it out and enjoy their coupons. And if you talk about coupons, how bonds work is that I'm giving you Caesar 1,000. And Sister said that every year I'm going to pay you, out of the 1,000 that I've taken, I'll pay you 10%. So every year then I pay you the 10%, which is 100 cedis. Then I use it to enjoy myself for the rest of the year. The next year when it's due, I'll come for another 100 cedis. So that by the time that the 5 years or the 10 years is over, you will give me that last year's 10% plus my money that I gave you. Then I can now think of how I can reinvest that money into something else. So those the 10% are what they start talking about, the coupon. It's coupon and no, it's the 10% that you are taking. Now I am not going to get that money, and the spread that I did for the next 12 years, I'm not going to get that. You have capped it to 5 years. So that is what happened yesterday. Some of the bond holders, the old persons above 60, they went there, and one of the issues that the two issues they're dealing with are two. You have the option not to participate, that is fine, but immediately you put in that option of not participating, they are also looking at the fact that could we be penalized for not participating? The court will just hang, the government will just stay, and they are wondering will government be able to pay. So all that they are seeking is that whether it is tendering in or not tendering in. As for us individual bondholders, especially we who are in the pension bracket, just exempt us totally, because we had objectives, we had plans. That's what she's about.
So it's not what they're going to be getting per month or so. It's just like 1,000 cedis.
Thank you very much for this. You know, the challenge that we have is that we have an economic crisis. We do have an economic crisis.
You know you.
This time he's going.
Who calls him? Honorable Minister, Finance Minister, Honorable Ken. They are part of the reaction that is going against these pensioners who are calling to be exempted. At a point in time, you can even add the majority leader, because he faithfuls, and they are telling us they are giving a roadmap and a one pension, and we think it's normal. Come on,
Caesar. These people should have mercy on the people. Have mercy on them. Have mercy on them. Mercy. Have mercy on them. Please, have mercy. Caesar, you see, there's even more to this. I've been examining the press conference that the finance minister held yesterday. Do you know that till now he's still saying he expects it's today that the deadline would come to an end, that all financial institutions and banks, all players on the capital market, all players on the securities market, all players in the insurance sector will tender in fully their participation. So that means that there's still a gap to cover. and he is afraid. And he mentions two things: that if we are not careful and he doesn't meet the threshold that he needs to have achieved a debt and a domestic debt exchange that is appreciable in front of the IMF, to allow it start looking towards the board level agreement which will grant us that amount. And they are looking at somewhere in the middle of March, London and IMF deal.